Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Samantha's History Spotlight, where we talk all about the past and its influences. In this episode, titled Truth and Legend in the Aztec Conquest, we will be discussing the documentary Conquistador Hernán Cortés, Fall of the Aztecs, and how it relates to our past readings. This documentary was filled with tons of information and visuals about what happened when the Spaniards went to what is now Mexico and encountered the Aztecs. The documentary ranges from Cortés's personal life before taking this trip to meeting different indigenous groups to the actual defeat of the Aztec Empire. While both the documentary and Born in Blood and Fire provide strong explanations of the fall of the Aztecs, their differences show that some popular explanations may actually not fully reflect what really happened. Details of Hernán Cortés's journey have been analyzed previously in The Fall of the Aztec and Inca Empires and Patterns of Indigenous Life sections of the book Born in Blood and Fire. Like the documentary, the book explains that the Aztec Empire was very well developed and had impressive infrastructure and culture, which amazed the colonists. For example, the chinampas they constructed were garden platforms built on the lake that surrounded the city. The documentary supports this by showing where, in what's now present-day Mexico City, aspects of the ancient city can still be seen. Although the lake has now dried up and the city looks like any other normal urban area, streets still have Nahuatl names that reflect what once was there. The street Chimalpopoca, a little difficult to pronunciate, highlights the first canal that goes into the city near where Cortés met Moctezuma for the first time. Other connections between the reading and the documentary include the help that the Spanish received from indigenous enemies of the Aztecs, also sometimes referred to as the Mexicas. The reading covers this very vaguely, stating that a major reason the Spanish victory happened was because of European diseases and indigenous allies who were angry at the Aztecs over taxation. Who wouldn't? Which helped wipe out a majority of the Aztec population. The documentary dives deeper into this by naming the main group and explaining the reasons for joining. The Tlaxcalans at first did not trust the Europeans and attacked them when they arrived in their territory. However, after their battle, the Tlaxcalans recognized the strength of the Spaniards and saw the opportunity they had to finally eliminate the Aztecs. As the indigenous man in the film stated, this not only benefited them, but also protected them from being erased from history. Thirdly, the text mentions that the Spanish intended to convert the people that they conquered to Catholicism. However, it doesn't really explain what they thought about Aztec beliefs at the time. In the documentary, we learned that they viewed Aztec values as pretty strange and disturbing. In indigenous culture, it was common for individuals to be sacrificed in the name of their gods. For this reason, skulls and traces of human remains were found in areas around cities. Cortés expressed this belief to Moctezuma when he brought them to his sacrificial site, which greatly offended the Aztecs because they were trying to change them. Other events explained more deeply in the documentary include Cortés's recovery after the Night of Tears, which ultimately led to the Spanish victory. Now, a major difference between the readings and the documentary appears in how they explain the Aztecs' hospitality towards the Spaniards. The documentary follows a theory that Moctezuma believed Hernán Cortés was the god Quetzalcoatl, based on a prophecy stating that he would return that same year, appearing in that white-skinned and bearded figure. The weapons and items that the Spaniards brought supported this belief, as they seemed like they were from another world. On the other hand, Born in Blood and Fire debunks this theory, stating that the story was written decades after the Spanish arrived to the area, meaning it couldn't have been true. Instead, the Spanish victory was explained by the advantage that Cortés and the other conquistadors had from having years of experience interacting with other indigenous groups. Meanwhile, the Aztecs had no prior knowledge of who the heck these Europeans were. This is where my questioning comes into play. If there was no prophecy connecting the Spanish to the Aztecs in any way, why was there immediate trust towards the Europeans, including offering them gifts? What would have been their reason for doing so? Despite slight mismatches in information between the readings and the documentary, I think that they complemented each other pretty well and provided a solid understanding of how Mexico came to be. The documentary did well incorporating both Spanish and indigenous perspectives, including letters and interviews from both sides, while the book provided a quick but detailed overview of how the fall of the Aztecs came to be.